I've always been the kind of person people talk over. Not because I'm timid, because I don't compete for air. In my family, that reads as weak. My sister, Celeste, has built an entire personality around being the loudest version of right. The kind of woman who can tell a story where she's the victim, the hero, and the punchline, then smile when everyone laughs in the right places. If you met her once, you'd assume she was confident. If you knew her, you'd understand she needed an audience the way some people need insulin. I live in Columbus, Ohio, in a small duplex that smells like dryer sheets and old wood. I work as a compliance analyst for a regional insurance company. It isn't glamorous. It is precise. Dates, documentation, timelines. I like work that doesn't argue with you. If something happened, the record either shows it or it doesn't. Celeste hates that about me. My fiancé, Mara, loved it. Mara and I were supposed to get married on Saturday, May 17th. We'd booked a modest venue on the east side, a restored brick warehouse with white string lights and tall windows. 83 guests, buffet-style dinner, small open bar, a playlist we'd made together late at night while washing dishes. It was all intentionally simple. Not cheap, just not performative. Celeste took that personally. The first time she came to our place after Mara moved in, she looked around like she was inspecting a rental car for scratches. She lifted a picture frame off the console table. It was a photo of Mara and me at Hocking Hills, both of us muddy and smiling, hair uncooperative. Celeste frowned. "This is what you're using for engagement photos?" she asked. "They're not engagement photos," Mara said, calm. "We just liked that picture." Celeste put the frame down like it had offended her. "It's giving starter marriage." Mara blinked once, like she was filing the phrase away in a cabinet labeled, "Not worth addressing." She did that a lot with Celeste. I watched my sister's eyes drift to Mara's hands. The ring was a simple band, white gold, no stone. Mara had never liked flashy jewelry. Celeste always wore something that caught light. Celeste's smile sharpened. "So you're doing the whole minimalist thing," she said. "Cute. Very, I don't need attention." Mara's tone stayed even. "I think people can live without attention." Celeste laughed like Mara was joking. "Not in this family." That was Celeste. In one sentence. She said the ugly thing out loud and disguised it as family truth, like that made it harmless. After that, Celeste found ways to make Mara the problem without ever saying Mara's name. At my mother's birthday dinner in March, Celeste waited until everyone had plates. She tapped her glass with her fork. "Okay," she said, scanning the table like she was about to announce a pregnancy. "We need to talk about the wedding." I didn't respond. Mara didn't either. My mother leaned forward, hopeful. "Oh, is there a change?" Celeste sighed. "Not a change. More like a concern." She turned to me. "You know I love you, right?" I nodded once. I worry you're rushing into this with someone who doesn't really," she made a vague motion with her fork, "fit." The table went quiet in that special way family quiets when there's something to watch. Mara's posture didn't move. She took a sip of water. My dad looked at his plate like it was suddenly interesting. Celeste continued. "Like, I get it. She's nice, quiet, very controlled." Celeste's voice softened, like she was complimenting a child for not crying. "But marriage is big, and I don't know if you've noticed, but she kind of isolates you." That was the word she chose. Isolates. Like Mara was a locked door and I was trapped inside. I set my fork down. "How?" Celeste's smile stayed fixed. "I don't mean anything bad. I just mean you don't come around the same. You used to answer my calls, and now I have to text Mara to make sure you see things." Mara didn't react. She didn't deny it. She didn't defend herself. She just let the accusation sit there, bare and unimpressive. I did answer Celeste's calls. I just didn't answer them immediately anymore. Not after she started calling at 11 p.m. to check on me and then spend 20 minutes describing how she'd heard things about Mara, things she never sourced, never clarified, just floated like smoke. I looked at my mother. We're not changing anything. Celeste shrugged, as if I'd proven her point. Okay, I just want you happy. When she said it, it sounded like a threat. Later that night, Mara and I drove home in silence for a few miles. The streetlights smeared across the windshield. I kept my eyes on the road. You okay? Mara's voice was quiet. Yes. I waited. She's trying to make you defend me, Mara said. If you defend me, you look like you're choosing me over them. If you don't, I look guilty. I glanced at her. That's exactly what she's doing. Mara nodded once. So don't play. That was Mara. Clear, practical. She didn't fight fire with fire. She just refused to stand in the smoke. Celeste escalated after that, small things at first, and added my parents, my Aunt Denise, my cousin Ray, and me, then sent messages like she was running a campaign. Celeste, just checking in. Parents. Celeste, just checking in. Has anyone heard from Eli? Worried he's overwhelmed. I was staring at my phone on a Tuesday afternoon while I sat in my office, an Excel spreadsheet open in front of me. I'd talked to my parents 2 days ago. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, Celeste. I'm sure Mara has him busy. Low. That was her favorite shield. I took screenshots. Not because I planned anything, because the habit was automatic. Every year's. Records mattered. Patterns mattered. In my job, you didn't ignore small inconsistencies. Small inconsistencies were where fraud lived. At the wedding venue walkthrough on April 12th, Celeste insisted on coming to help. Mara and I met the coordinator, a woman named Janelle, who wore a headset and a clipboard like armor. Janelle walked us through the space, explaining where the buffet would go, where the DJ booth could be set up, the rules about candles. Celeste trailed behind us in heels, filming everything on her phone. This lighting is harsh, she said, panning across the room. Can we do draping? Like ceiling draping? It would soften it. Janelle smiled politely. You can, but it's an additional vendor. Ceiling rigging is... Celeste waved a hand. Ally can afford it, I corrected her calmly. We're not doing draping. Celeste turned to Mara like she wanted her agreement. Don't you want it to look nicer? Mara's tone stayed level. It already looks nice. Celeste laughed. Okay, I mean it's your day. If you want it to look like a corporate luncheon, that's a vibe. Janelle's eyes flicked between us, assessing. I didn't argue. I didn't counter-insult. I just watched Celeste's hands as she adjusted her phone angle to make sure she got Mara's face in frame. Celeste wasn't just making comments. She was collecting content. After the walkthrough, Mara and I sat in our car for a moment before driving away. She rubbed her thumb along the edge of her seatbelt. A small, repetitive motion. She's going to post about this, Mara said. I nodded. Probably. Mara's gaze stayed forward. She wants people to think she's saving you from me. I didn't answer immediately, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. What do you want to do? I asked. Mara finally looked at me. Nothing. Keep going. Let her talk. Keep records. That night, I created a folder on my laptop titled Wedding/Family. Inside it, I made subfolders. Texts, social calls, receipts, timeline. It felt clinical, but it also felt safe. 2 weeks later, Celeste posted an Instagram story with a photo of a generic wedding planning checklist and the caption, "Watching someone you love make a mistake is painful." She tagged me. People replied. People messaged me. Some of them were strangers. Some were extended family who hadn't spoken to me in years. Hey, your sister seems really worried. Everything okay? You good, man? If you need to talk, Celeste didn't say Mara's name. She didn't have to. She just created a shadow and let people fill it in. Mara didn't respond publicly. She didn't message Celeste. She didn't subtweet. She kept going to work, kept making dinner, kept living like we weren't being quietly smeared by someone who called it concern. I admired that, and I also understood it came at a cost. On Friday, May 2nd, 2 weeks before the wedding, Celeste called me at 7:18 p.m. I let it ring. At 7:19, she texted, "Celeste, call me back ASAP. It's important." I waited 3 minutes, not to punish her, to see if important meant urgent, or if it meant I need you on the hook. At 7:22, she texted again, "Celeste, now." I stepped onto the back porch and called her. She answered on the first ring, breathy like she'd been crying. "Eli," she said, "I didn't want to say this over text." "What is it?" I asked. She paused long enough to create dread. "I heard something," she said, "from someone who knows Mara." I didn't respond. Celeste continued anyway. Apparently, Mara's ex had issues, like safety issues, car issues. I felt my jaw tighten, but I kept my voice even. "What does that mean?" Celeste lowered her voice. "Brake issues, like sabotage." The words landed, heavy and stupid. I stared into the yard where our neighbor's porch light buzzed and attracted moths. "Who told you this?" I asked. Celeste exhaled dramatically. "I don't want to drag names into it, but it was someone credible." "Celeste," I said. "Who?" She clicked her tongue like I was being difficult. "Why are you defending her?" "I'm trying to help you." "I'm asking for the source," I repeated. "That's not defending anyone." Silence. "Then, I just think you should be careful," she said. "Like, maybe don't drive her car. Or maybe, postpone. Until you know." Her voice softened again, syrupy. "I'm your sister. I'm the only one willing to tell you the truth." I ended the call 2 minutes later. Calmly. No argument. Just, "Thanks. I'll handle it." I went inside. Mara was at the kitchen counter, cutting strawberries into a bowl. She looked up when she saw my face. "What did she say?" she asked. I put my phone down on the table. "She's implying you sabotaged someone's car," I said. Mara didn't freeze. She didn't gasp. She didn't ask how anyone could think that. She just set the knife down carefully, like she didn't want a sudden motion to become a story later. "Okay," she said. That was all. One word. Flat. Then she reached for her phone, opened her contacts, and scrolled until she found a name. "Do you remember Aaron?" she asked. I nodded. "Your ex from before you moved to Ohio." Mara tapped the screen. "I'm going to call him." "Put it on speaker." Her hand didn't shake. Mine didn't either. I sat down at the table, back straight, and watched her thumb hover over the call button. In the silence before she pressed it, I realized something with sharp clarity. Celeste wasn't just talking. She was building a narrative, and she was getting comfortable saying the word breaks. I didn't react. I didn't call her back. I didn't warn anyone. I just opened my laptop, created a new document, and typed, May 2nd, 2026, 7:18 p.m. Celeste call. Claims car sabotage story about Mara. Mentions brake issues. Refuses to name source. Mara's phone started ringing. And as it rang, I made the decision I always make when someone tries to corner me emotionally. I chose silence over reaction. Because silence leaves room for proof. Aaron answered on the fourth ring. "Hey," he said. His voice sounded like someone pulled from sleep, then adjusted quickly. "Mara?" "Yes," she said. "I need to ask you something, and I'm putting you on speaker." There was a pause. "Okay." I watched Mara's face while she spoke. It stayed neutral, attentive, no defensive posture, no preamble. "My sister-in-law is telling people I sabotaged your car," Mara said. "Yes, specifically the brakes." "Did anything like that ever happen?" Aaron let out a short breath. "No." "Did you ever tell anyone it did?" Mara asked. "No," he repeated, firmer. "What the hell?" "Thank you," Mara said. "That's all I needed." "Do you want me to—" "No," she said. "But I may need a written statement later. Would you be willing?" "Yes," he said immediately. "Absolutely. This is messed up." Mara ended the call and set the phone down. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Then I reached for my laptop and added another line beneath the first. May 2nd, 2026. 7:26 p.m. phone call with Aaron on speaker. Denies any car sabotage, willing to provide written statement. I didn't feel relieved. I hadn't expected anything different. What I felt was confirmation, not about Mara, but about Celeste. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't concern. It was fabrication, and fabrication requires repetition to feel real. Celeste didn't wait long. The next morning, my cousin Ray messaged me. Ray, bro, weird question. Is everything okay with Mara? Celeste said something about her having a history. I took a screenshot, added it to the texts folder. I replied with one sentence. Me? Everything is fine. Ray didn't push, but I could see the read receipt sit there like a dot. At 10:14 a.m., my Aunt Denise commented on Celeste's Instagram post from the night before, a photo of Celeste in sunglasses, coffee cup in hand, captioned, "Protecting your peace sometimes means saying the hard things." Aunt Denise wrote, "You're such a good sister." I opened the social folder and saved the screenshot. Patterns don't announce themselves. They accumulate. By Monday, Celeste had escalated from implication to performance. She showed up unannounced at my parents' house while I was there, dropping something off. Ed, she brought pastries. Thought I'd check in, she said brightly, placing the box on the counter. 8 years. You know, since things are stressful, my mother hovered nearby, unsure. My dad retreated to the living room. Celeste leaned against the counter, crossing her arms. I just don't want you blindsided, Eli. I didn't respond. She tilted her head. Have you noticed anything off with Mara? I met her eyes. Be specific. Celeste smiled thinly. You're always so literal. I mean, mood swings. It's control, isolation. Those are still vague, I said. She sighed. I'm just asking questions. No, I said calmly. You're making accusations without evidence. The word evidence landed harder than I expected. Celeste's eyes flicked away for a fraction of a second. I don't need evidence to be worried, she said. I'm family. That doesn't exempt you from being wrong, I said. My mother stepped in, voice nervous. Maybe we should all just focus on the wedding. Celeste's smile snapped back into place. Of course. I just wanted to be safe. Safe. She left 10 minutes later. Hugged my mother. Kissed my cheek like nothing had happened. I waited until I was in my car to open my phone and dictate a note. May 5th, 2026. Celeste visit at parents' house. Repeated implications re. Mara's behavior. Uses words history, safety, control. No specifics. Witnesses. Mom. Dad. At work, I requested 2 days off for the following week. Not because I needed rest, because I needed time. Time to listen. Time to let Celeste keep talking. The first real break came from someone I didn't expect. Janelle, the wedding coordinator, called me Wednesday afternoon. Her tone was professional, but tight. Hi, Eli. I wanted to check in about a message I received. What kind of message? I asked. Your sister emailed me, she said. She raised a concern about safety, specifically about vehicles on the property. I closed my eyes briefly. What did she say? That there may be a known issue with one of the cars belonging to the wedding party, Janelle said carefully, and that we should be cautious. Did she provide any details? I asked. No, Janelle said, which is why I'm calling you. If there's an actual concern, we need to know. If not, this could create liability issues. I understand, I said. Could you forward me the email? There was a pause. Of course. The email arrived 30 seconds later. Celeste's name at the top. Her tone syrupy, concerned, plausible. Hi, Janelle. I don't want to alarm anyone, but as family, I feel obligated to mention that there have been past safety concerns involving one of the vehicles associated with the bride. Nothing confirmed, but I'd hate for something to happen when it could have been prevented. Better safe than sorry. I saved the email and receipts. Then I replied to Janelle, there is no safety issue. The statement in that email is false. I can provide documentation if needed. Janelle responded quickly. Thank you for clarifying. I'm sorry for the confusion. Confusion. That was the word people used when they didn't want to say manipulation. That night, Mara and I sat at the kitchen table, laptops open. We weren't arguing. We weren't strategizing out loud. We were working. Mara pulled up her old maintenance records, oil changes, tire rotations, brake inspections, dates, receipts, the kind of mundane proof that only matters when someone lies. She emailed Aaron again, requesting the written statement. He replied within the hour. I confirm that Mara, last name, never sabotaged my vehicle or caused any brake issues. No such incident occurred during our relationship. Signed, dated. I saved it. Then Mara forwarded me an email chain from 3 years earlier between her and Aaron, where he mentioned selling the car because it was old and unreliable. No incident, no drama. And a year, I added it to the folder. What else? Mara asked quietly. I thought for a moment. Witnesses. She nodded. I can think of 2. Friday, Celeste had moved from private implication to casual confession. I didn't know that yet. I found out because of a voicemail. A man named Derek, someone I'd never met, called me at 6:42 p.m. while I was driving home. I didn't answer. He left a message. Hey, Eli? You don't know me. I'm Derek. I met your sister Celeste at O'Malley's earlier. Psst. She was. Talking. Said some stuff that didn't sit right with me. I think you should call me back. I pulled over and listened to the message twice. Then I called him. Derek answered immediately. His voice sounded uncomfortable, like he'd debated calling at all. She was joking, he said quickly, I think, but it didn't sound like a joke. Tell me what she said, I replied. She was talking about you getting married, he said. Complaining. Then she said, laughing that someone like that ends up at a funeral. I thought she meant metaphorically. I stayed silent. And then, he continued, she said, yeah, I cut the brake lines. See you at her funeral. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. I said nothing. She laughed, Derek added. I didn't. I asked if she was serious. She said, relax. I'm kidding. People are so sensitive. Where was this? I asked. O'Malley's. Around 5:30. Bartender was there. Couple people nearby. Did anyone else hear? I asked. Yes, he said. I think so. Would you be willing to write down exactly what you heard? I asked. Another pause. Yes, he said. Because if that's a joke, it's not funny. When I got home, Mara was on the couch reading. I sat down across from her. She said it out loud, I told her. Mara didn't ask who. She didn't ask how. She joked about cutting brake lines, I said, to a stranger. In public. Mara closed the book slowly. Okay. I opened my laptop and typed with care. May 9th, 2026, approximate. 5:30 p.m., Celeste at O'Malley's. Statement overheard by Derek, last name unknown. Yeah, I cut the brake lines. See you at her funeral. Claimed as joke when questioned. Witnesses present. Voicemail saved. I saved the voicemail. Then I did something deliberate. I waited. I didn't confront Celeste. I didn't warn my parents. I didn't change plans. Because the moment someone says something like that casually, the danger isn't what they did, it's how comfortable they are saying it. And comfort breeds repetition. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed with a notification from Celeste. Celeste, we should talk. Urgent. I looked at the screen, then at the folder on my desktop. Receipts don't expire. And Celeste, confident and careless, had just handed me the one thing I needed. The key receipt wasn't what she said. It was where, when, and to whom she said it. And the fact that she thought calling it a joke would make it disappear. Celeste chose the setting herself. She texted our family group chat on Monday morning with the kind of enthusiasm that pretends nothing is wrong. Celeste, bridal brunch this Sunday, before the rehearsal. Let's do it at Mom's. I'll handle everything. No one questioned it. My mother replied with a heart emoji. My Aunt Denise said she'd bring mimosas. Ray sent a thumbs up. Celeste reacted to her own message with sparkles. I didn't respond. Neither did Mara. That silence didn't slow Celeste down. It energized her. Within an hour, she followed up with details. Time, menu, suggested attire. She framed it as generosity, as if hosting was an act of healing. What she was really doing was gathering an audience. A brunch before the rehearsal meant relatives already in town. It meant phones out. It meant witnesses who would assume nothing serious could happen because this is family. And Celeste had been very careful not to repeat the joke again, at least not directly. Instead, she pivoted. Her Instagram stories shifted tone. A photo of a coffee cup on a marble counter. Caption, when you've done everything you can and have to let go. A selfie in her car. Seatbelt visible. Caption, grateful for safe travels. She knew exactly what she was doing. Plausible deniability required suggestion, not repetition. I kept collecting. On Tuesday, Derek emailed me his statement. Clear, unembellished, time-stamped. He included the bartender's name. Included where Celeste was sitting. Included the exact phrasing as he remembered it. I saved it. On Wednesday, Janelle forwarded me a follow-up email from Celeste. This one was shorter. Thanks again for taking safety seriously. I'd hate for something tragic to happen so close to the wedding. No accusation. Just implication. I replied once. Please direct all further communication regarding the event to me. Janelle responded with relief. At work, I requested access to archived phone logs, my own, dates and times of Celeste's calls, voicemail saved, metadata intact. At home, Mara contacted the two witnesses she'd mentioned earlier. One was her former roommate from years ago. The other was a mechanic who'd worked on her car regularly before she moved states. Both agreed to statements. Both sounded confused that anyone would suggest sabotage. By Thursday, the folder on my laptop had weight, not emotional weight, evidentiary weight. Anger. Narrows focus. I needed width. Celeste called me Thursday night. I let it ring. She texted, Celeste, I know you're upset, but avoiding me isn't healthy. I didn't reply. Celeste, I just want to clear the air before Sunday. That was the first time she'd acknowledged there was air to clear. I still didn't reply. The rehearsal dinner on Friday was uneventful. I stayed polite. Mara stayed calm. Celeste played the attentive sister, touching my arm when she laughed, asking Mara about seating arrangements like nothing had happened, but she watched us. She watched me especially. People who lie don't relax. They monitor. Saturday morning, I printed everything. 2 copies. I didn't put them in a folder. I put them in a plain manila envelope and slid it into my briefcase. At 9:12 a.m., Derek texted me. There's Derek. Just so you know, Celeste posted a story last night saying some people can't take a joke. Didn't name names. I checked. The story was gone. Expired. But Derek had a screenshot. I saved it. The brunch started at 11. My mother's house smelled like coffee and citrus. The table was set with linen napkins and flowers Celeste had brought herself. White, dramatic, arranged for photos. There were 14 people there, mostly women. Phones everywhere. Celeste moved through the room like a host on camera, hugging, laughing, narrating. Mara stayed near the window, talking to my cousin's wife, calm, neutral. I stayed near the counter, answering questions about the schedule. Ads. Celeste clinked her glass. Okay, she said brightly. I just want to say how grateful I am that we can all be here together. Family is everything. She looked at Mara when she said it. I know this process hasn't been easy, Celeste continued. Weddings bring out stress. But it's important we feel safe and supported. The word safe, again, a few heads nodded. I felt the room tilt slightly, attention shifting. Celeste smiled. And that's why honesty matters. I took a sip of coffee, didn't look at her. She went on. If something feels off, it's okay to say it, even if it's uncomfortable. My Aunt Denise murmured, "So true." Celeste set her glass down. "I just want everyone to know that I've done everything I can to make sure this weekend goes smoothly." She paused. "And that if anything happens," I interrupted her. Not loudly, not sharply. "Celeste," I said. My tone was even. "Before you continue, there's something we need to address." The room went still, not silent, just attentive. Celeste blinked. "Now?" "Yes," I said, "now." She laughed lightly. "Okay, what's up?" I didn't answer her. I looked at the room. "At any point over the past 2 weeks," I said, "has anyone here heard Celeste express concern about Mara's safety in relation to a vehicle?" A few people shifted. My mother frowned. Celeste's smile tightened. "Eli, what are you doing?" I ignored her. "I'm asking because there have been statements made," I continued, "an email sent, suggesting a known issue." Celeste let out a small laugh. "This is so dramatic." I nodded once. "I'm over time. It doesn't need to be." I reached into my briefcase and placed the manila envelope on the counter. Didn't open it. Before anything else is said, I added, "I want to be clear, there is no safety issue." That claim is false. Celeste crossed her arms. "I never said there was." I looked at her. "You implied it, repeatedly." She scoffed. "Oh my God. This is about that joke, isn't it?" The word hung there. A few people glanced at each other. "What joke?" my mother asked. Celeste rolled her eyes. "I made an offhand comment at a bar. Someone took it seriously." "It was obviously a joke." I nodded. "About cutting brake lines." The room inhaled. Celeste's laugh came out too fast. "See? You're saying it like it's real." It was sarcasm. "To a stranger," I said, "in public." "So?" she snapped. "People joke about murder all the time." I didn't respond to that. Instead, I turned to Mara. "Would you mind stepping outside for a moment?" I asked. Mara nodded without hesitation. She set her glass down and walked toward the back door. Celeste frowned. "Why is she leaving?" "Because," I said, "this isn't about her anymore." I waited until the door closed behind Mara. Then I looked back at Celeste. "Before you explain anything else," I said, "I want to make sure we all understand the timeline." She shifted her weight. "Eli, you're being ridiculous." "On May 2nd, I continued, "you called me and implied Mara had sabotaged a car in the past. You mentioned brakes." "That's not what I said," Celeste interjected. I raised a hand, not aggressively, just enough. "On May 5th, I went on, "you repeated concerns at Mom and Dad's house. You used the word safety and history." My mother's eyes widened slightly. "On May 7th, I said, you emailed our wedding coordinator suggesting an unconfirmed vehicle safety issue." Celeste's face had gone pale around the mouth. "And on May 9th, I finished, you told a stranger at O'Malley's, quote, 'Yeah, I cut the brake lines. See you at her funeral.'" "That's not," Celeste started. "I'm not finished," I said. The room was silent now. Phones were no longer subtle. "I didn't confront you," I continued. "I didn't argue. I documented." Celeste laughed weakly. "This is insane." I opened the envelope. "I have statements," I said. "Emails, screenshots, voicemails, witnesses." I didn't hand anything out. I didn't read them yet. I just let the paper sit there, visible. "This brunch," I said, looking at her, "was your idea." Her mouth opened, then closed. "You wanted to frame the story before the wedding," I added. "I'm just making sure it's accurate." Celeste swallowed. My Aunt Denise broke the silence. "Celeste, what is he talking about?" Celeste's eyes darted around the room. "He's twisting everything." I was trying to help. "By telling people my fiancé sabotages cars?" I asked. She shook her head. "I never said that seriously." "Then why did you say it at all?" I asked. She stared at me. For the first time, Celeste didn't have an answer ready. Outside, I could see Mara through the window, standing still, phone in hand. I closed the envelope again. I'm not here to argue, I said. I'm here to clarify. And after this weekend, there will be boundaries. Celeste's voice dropped. You're embarrassing me. I met her gaze. No, I'm being precise. The room felt tight, expectant. I could feel it, the moment right before a story breaks open. And for the first time, Celeste understood something she'd never accounted for. I wasn't reacting. I was about to present. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I opened the envelope and removed the contents slowly, placing them on the counter one by one, like items in an inventory. This is the email you sent to the wedding coordinator, I said, turning the page so the header was visible, dated May 7th, from your account. Celeste stared at it. I said nothing confirmed. Yes, I replied. You also said, better safe than sorry, about a non-existent danger. That's not concern. That's implication. I placed the next page down. This is the voicemail from Derek, I continued. Left. On my phone at 6:42 p.m. on May 9th, he's willing to play it himself if anyone would like to hear. No one asked. My mother's hand had gone to her mouth. My father stood up from his chair without saying anything. I placed another document down. This is a written statement from Aaron, I said. Mara's former partner. He confirms there was never any incident involving vehicle sabotage. He offered this without being prompted. Celeste shook her head. A short, sharp motion. This is ridiculous. I didn't respond to that. This, I said, is a statement from Mara's former roommate. And this one, I added the next page, is from her longtime mechanic. Both confirm regular maintenance. No issues. No incidents. I looked around the room. Everything I'm showing you is dated, I said. Everything is sourced. Celeste's voice rose. So what? You're building a case against me now? No, I said calmly. I'm correcting the record. She laughed, brittle. Over a joke. I nodded once. Let's talk about that. I turned to my mother. Mom, did Celeste ever tell you she was joking? My mother hesitated. She said she was worried. I looked at my Aunt Denise. Did she ever say it wasn't serious? Denise shook her head slowly. She said she was afraid something might happen. I turned back to Celeste. You didn't frame it as humor, I said. You framed it as risk. Celeste's eyes flashed. Because I was trying to protect you. From what? I asked. She opened her mouth, closed it. I waited. Nothing came. You never provided evidence, I continued. You never asked questions. You never spoke directly to Mara. You spoke around her. Celeste scoffed. She isolates you. Everyone sees it. I nodded. That's another claim you made. Repeatedly. I picked up my phone and placed it on the counter. These are messages you sent to the family group chat implying I was unreachable, I said. They're time-stamped. Sent while I was at work or asleep. I scrolled once. This is the Instagram story you posted after Derek contacted me. The one about people not being able to take a joke. He has a screenshot. Celeste's face went red. You had someone spying on me? No, I said. You said it in public. The room was completely silent now. I looked at my parents. I didn't bring this up earlier because I wanted to be sure, I said. I didn't want emotion. I wanted accuracy. I looked back at Celeste. You told a stranger you cut brake lines? I said. You did it casually? You did it in a way that suggested inevitability, and when questioned, you called it a joke. She crossed her arms tightly. Because it was. Then explain the follow-up, I said. Explain the emails. The posts. The repeated use of safety. Explain why you never clarified it was a joke to anyone who took it seriously. Celeste's mouth moved. No sound came out. I waited. Still nothing. This is why Mara stepped outside, I said. Because this isn't about defending her. It's about stopping you. My mother spoke quietly. Stopping her from what? From escalating, I said. From saying something that could have real consequences. Celeste laughed again, too loud. Oh my God. You're acting like I tried to kill someone. I'm acting like words matter, I replied, especially when they involve crimes. My father finally spoke. His voice was steady but low. Celeste, did you say that? She turned to him. Dad, it was sarcasm. Ears. He didn't respond immediately. Then, did you say it? Celeste hesitated. Yes, she said. But that's enough, he said. The word cut clean. Celeste stared at him like she'd been slapped. I didn't come here to punish you, I said. I came to draw a line. I slid the papers back into the envelope. This weekend will proceed as planned, I said. Mara and I will attend the rehearsal and the wedding. Celeste let out a sharp laugh. 8 years. You're not serious. I am, I said. But you will not be involved. Her smile collapsed. Excuse me? You're not welcome at the wedding, I said evenly, and you won't be attending any related events. The room erupted in overlapping gasps and murmurs. Celeste's face twisted. You can't do that. I can, I said, and I am. She turned to my mother. You're going to let him do this? My mother looked torn. Then she looked at the envelope. Celeste, she said quietly, why would you say something like that? Celeste's voice shook. Because he's changing. Because she's taking him away. Because no one listens to me anymore. There it was. Not concern. Control. I'm not being taken, I said. I'm choosing. She stared at me, eyes bright. After everything I've done for you? You don't get credit for harm, I said. She looked around the room, searching for support. No one met her eyes. I didn't call the police, I continued. I didn't post anything online. I didn't retaliate. Celeste's voice dropped to a whisper. You're ruining my reputation. No, I said. Your words did that. I'm just refusing to absorb the damage. I turned toward the back door and called softly, Mara? She came back in. She walked to my side and stood there, calm, steady. I took her hand. This is my boundary, I said to the room. Anyone who continues to imply harm, joke about crimes, or undermine my partner won't have access to us. Years. Celeste's voice broke. You're choosing her over your family. I shook my head. I'm choosing truth over chaos. She left 10 minutes later. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't hug anyone. Just grabbed her purse and walked out. The wedding went on without her. There were questions. We answered them simply. She crossed a line. Most people understood. Some didn't. We didn't argue. On Monday, Celeste posted a long message about betrayal and boundaries and being silenced. I didn't respond. Neither did Mara. 3 weeks later, my parents told me Celeste had started therapy. Not as a victory, just as information. I acknowledged it. Nothing more. Mara and I moved forward. We kept our lives quiet. Intentional. Undramatic. The folder on my laptop still exists. I haven't opened it since. Not because I don't need it. Because I don't need to add to it. Boundaries don't require revenge. They require clarity and the patience to let the truth arrive on its own. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't rush. I waited. And when the moment came, I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped protecting a lie that wasn't mine to carry.